Okay. Today, I'm going to turn my computer volume down and we don't get any interruptions. Today, I want to do sort of a follow-up on the Occupy crowd. To follow up, there's also been some further developments that I'd like to talk about with the Occupy crowd. Yeah. There was a Soviet refugee. He confronted two Occupy Wall Street people. They were two white people, man and woman. They appeared to be in their 50s or 60s, and he confronted them. This was not CNN news. This was just a regular guy with a camera, from his point of view, literally standing there like this, pointing at them. And they were talking about not the Soviet Union, but about North Korea. Now these two idiots, and they are idiots, wanted to replace capitalism with socialism. Socialism is communism, okay? Don't get this fucking stupid shit in your head that socialism is communism light or socialism is... No, socialism is communism. Communism is socialism, okay? Period. Okay, so don't give me that shit. Same fucking thing. Now these idiots wanted to replace capitalism with socialism. And this guy was talking about North Korea. Ironically, he's from Soviet Union talking about North Korea, but in theory, all communist countries are the same. They all are the same. So the guy asked them, how is it in North Korea? And they said, well, keeping in mind they've never been in North Korea. Well, everybody's working, everything like that. And he said, so no one's starving? No. No cannibalism? No. No one in prison? No. Really? The guy literally said, if you can look it up, it went viral. You should look on YouTube and find it. Soviet man confronts Occupy Wall Street, and you should see something about it. He also went on, I think it was Breitbart. If I'm mistaken, please correct me. I think it was Breitbart. He gave an interview on Breitbart. And on Breitbart, he was talking about the Soviet Union. In the Soviet Union, if you buy something and sell it for a profit, we call it capitalism. You ever watch porn stars? They say all the time, I want to make a profit off it. I want to buy it for this. I want to keep it for a few months, and I want to sell it for that. Profit. That's how our country works. Profit. Okay? If you buy, most people that follow me are gun enthusiasts. Okay? If you buy a gun for $700, your dealer probably paid $300 for it. The manufacturer probably paid $50 for it. Profit. In the Soviet Union, which is obviously defunct now, that was called profiteering, punishable by 3 years in prison. That came from this Soviet man. The Soviet man lives in America now, obviously. He runs a small business. He didn't talk about what his business does, but he employs 6 people. And he said the same thing that I was thinking. In the Soviet Union, if you had an Occupy Soviet Union crowd, they would be killed or imprisoned. He said it just like that. And I love the fact that people use the freedom of speech to endorse a form of government that rejects speech. Just like I love the way Hollywood celebrities who make $20 million a movie and get paid royalties for life want to have a system of government where they would be cleaning toilet bowls for $1 a week. And my favorite thing about communism is that people that have never been to a communist country always know all about communism. And people that have been to a communist country always lecture people that escaped communist countries about how great communism is. Okay? If communism was so great, why the fuck do we have Cubans in pool toys coming across the ocean? You have Cuba and Florida 90 miles apart. And communism is so great that Cuban refugees get in little pool toys and float 90 miles to Florida in the middle of the night. That's how great communism is. There's a woman in San Diego. She had a small store. The Occupy San Diego crowd was parked outside of her store. Her store is in one of those plazas where they have a lot of little shops. You may have an open area, and there are a whole bunch of stores surrounding it, kind of like an outdoor mall. Well, the stores are indoors, but they're not in a big building. They're just lined up on a row or in a circle. The Occupy crowd was occupying the area in front of her store. Rats, piss, shit, dirty people. She called the San Diego Health Department, but you know how fucking California is. Okay? They literally went out of their way to make 3 laws in 1 week that would make California a haven for illegal immigrants. They protected the rights of illegal immigrants in California. So California don't give a fuck about this woman. Just absolute shit. And her customers could not come to patronize her because the store smelled so fucking, the area smelled so fucking bad. People would not come into our store to give her their business. And I wouldn't either. I mean, it's horrible. I gotta walk through piss and shit and shit heads in order to get to a store? No. And that cost her business. She also had a bunch of idiots come in and they wanted free food and cigarettes. Why the fuck are you special? Are you her best friend in the world? If she comes to your store, you're gonna give her free food? No. Why the fuck should she give you free anything? They're living in a fantasy world where they get anything they want for free. And eventually, she closed her business. She also said she received a lot of threats. I don't know what the threats were, rape, assault, but she felt her safety was threatened. So she ended up losing her business. And she hung up a flag, an American flag. And it wasn't just another American flag. It was her father's flag. And she said, my father was in Marine Corps. He fought for your rights. And she was he fought for your rights and shit like that. Now, when you lose your job, you collect your last paycheck, go downtown and get on unemployment and look for a new job. Obviously, that's way easier said than done. That is so much easier said than done, especially today. When you are the employer, you have to pay all your employees. It doesn't matter if you have to go to the bank and take out a loan, you have got to pay your employees their final paycheck. On top of that, you got to pay all your bills. Anything you owe, you got to pay. So not only is this woman out of a job, all of her employees are out of jobs. 1 employee, 10 employees, I don't know. And not only that, she has to pay whatever money she owes people. And I've had people tell me the Occupy crowd is fighting for the little guy, the Occupy crowd is fighting for you and me. I'm like, excuse you, motherfucker? Am I fighting to bring communism to America? Am I fighting to take a shit in a public street? Am I fighting to take a shit on a police car? Am I fighting to assault a police officer? They represent me somehow. Now, in case you forgot, it is illegal for you to stop lawful business, okay? If you stop a lawful person from conducting business, that is a crime. Different states may call it different things. Sometimes they may say let's press charges. Sometimes they may say let's sue for damages. But you do not have a right to stop someone from conducting lawful business. So if you're in front of her store pissing and shitting on yourself like a fucking animal in the woods, and her customers cannot come to her to patronize her, you have broken the law. Because you stopped her from conducting her business. And because she's out of business, okay, the Occupy crowd that is fighting for the little guy has cost the little guy her business and all of her employees their job. Now, knowing how well California handles the working man and law-abiding citizens, and knowing how well California honors the Second Amendment, I am willing to bet my life that not a single solitary person involved in that situation will be prosecuted. Let me check my time. I know I get compulsive about it. I got my little clock here. 10 minutes even. Okay. The Occupy crowd. That's how it is, my friends. Now, there was a riot in San Diego. San Diego. The police came in their riot gear now, and they had a riot on their hands. The only difference between a protest and a riot is one idiot does something stupid. It only takes one idiot to do something stupid. Throw a rock, set something on fire, punch someone in the face. All it takes is one idiot to spark it off, and that's the end of it. The Occupy people in San Diego did something stupid. And that justified the police using force. They used non-deadly force. We're going to get into police riots in a minute. And the head police officer, I think he used to call him the police commissioner. Sometimes they say commissioner, sometimes they say sheriff, sometimes they say police chief. But the head police officer gave a press conference defending his officers. And he said, fucking fly, there's a little fruit fly in the room. It looks like a fucking dickhead just swatting at nothing because you can't see it in the camera. And the officer said, my officers were threatened and they defended themselves and they used reasonable force, etc., etc., etc. The mayor of San Diego, who should be forced to resign, I should add, came out and said about how horrible it was that her officers did this and that, and about how disgusting. I mean, she threw the officers under the bus. She was apologizing to the rioters for the conduct of the police officers who defended the community. If a police officer has a guy on his knees with his hand on top of his head and hits the guy in the head with a baton, the mayor should apologize. If a police officer is on duty shit-faced drunk and he calls someone a racial slur, the mayor should apologize. But when a riot breaks out and the police respond, the mayor should not apologize. The mayor should not apologize. I don't give a fuck. You should not be apologizing, okay? The officers involved have to defend the community. That's their job. They put their hand on the Bible, raise their other hand, and they swear to do their job, which is protect the community. They don't give a fuck about damage. They don't give a fuck if someone gets arrested, someone gets pepper sprayed. That's too fucking bad. If they are in danger, if the public is in danger, they should respond and they should defend the public. And no one should be apologizing to the rioters but the kind of the officers. I'm going to pause. I want to go a little further.